Jawaharlal Nehru, the Prime Minister who refurbished a great nation. In midnight stroke August 15, 1947, India became independent. A midnight that dissipated darkness and misery, leading to an era of hopes and idealism, establishing a mark of the nation's renaissance, leading to the dawn of a new leader, Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India. He was a leading figure in the Indian independence movement. It was during the difficult times of the nation Nehru had undertaken the journey to lead our country. The challenge was immense as the centuries of imperialism trampled in India. The nation also faced the horrors of the bloody partition and its devastation. Leading a country with profound divisions of religion, gender, and language were not easy. Apparently, to incorporate the national sentiments in people with deeply rooted religious diversity was difficult. However, he was successful in leading our country, steering our nation on the path of recovery and modernization. A true visionary, Nehru is a national hero of the youth of our nation. His contribution towards the industrialization of India after independence earned him the title Architect of Modern India. Formative years. Jawaharlal was born on November 14, 1889 to Swarup Rani and Motilal Nehru in the city of Allahabad in Uttar Pradesh. Motilal Nehru, a Kashmiri Brahmin, was a wealthy barrister. He was also an active member of the Indian independence movement led by the National Congress. Jawaharlal had two younger sisters, Vijaya Lakshmi, later Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit and Krishna. They were brought up in luxury in a very large house named Anand Bhavan as per English customs. Along with English, they were also taught Hindi, Sanskrit and Indian classics. Nehru described his childhood as sanctified and peaceful. His father had him raised by private tutors at home. Nehru's theological interests led him to study Buddhist and Hindu scriptures also. Education. Motilal Nehru wanted his son to qualify for the Indian Civil Service. He sent him to the renowned Harrow School in England. Jawaharlal was a bright student. After completing school, he joined Trinity College, Cambridge and graduated with an honours degree from there in 1910 in natural sciences. He then took up legal studies in London and completed his barrister examination in 1912. Soon after that, he returned to India to set up legal practice in August 1912. Nehru was registered as a lawyer in the Allahabad High Court and he tried to engage in legal work. But unlike his father, he was not very interested in his career and he neither liked legal practice nor the company of lawyers. He married Kamla Kaul in 1916. They had one daughter, Indira Priyadarshini, later Indira Gandhi. Political career. Entering into independence struggle. Though Nehru started practicing as a lawyer, he came under the influence of political leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and decided to devote all his time to the freedom movement. Nehru's initial steps into freedom movement was marked in 1913 when he started working for the Indian National Congress to support the Indian civil rights movement led by Mahatma Gandhi in South Africa, collecting funds for the movement. Later, he protested against the discrimination faced by Indians in the British colonies. During the World War I, 1914 to 1915, Nehru volunteered to join the St. John Ambulance and served as one of the provincial secretaries of the Allahabad organization. He also publicly opposed the British government's censorship laws in India. Nehru became a leader during the war years and his political views were considered radical. However, he was not satisfied with the pace of the national movement. He talked openly about the policy of non-cooperation and the needs to resign from the government's honorary posts. He mocked Indian civil servants for supporting British politics. He also joined radical nationalist leaders and called on Indians to exercise home rule. In 1916, under the leadership of Annie Besant, several nationalist leaders joined forces to demand home rule and obtain dominion status in the British Empire. In April 1916, Tilak also formed his own alliance. Nehru joined the two movements but worked specifically for the former and was promoted to become the secretary of the Basin's Home Rule movement. Nehru's first major national commitment was made at the beginning of the non-cooperation movement in 1920. He led the movement in United Province, Uttar Pradesh. Nehru was arrested for anti-government activities in 1921 and was released a few months later. After Gandhi suddenly stopped the non-cooperation movement after the Chauri Chaura incident, Nehru remained loyal to him in the rift formed within the Congress and did not join the Swaraj Party founded by his father, Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das. However, his father, Motilal Nehru, supported his political views. Following her husband's footsteps, Kamala Nehru too took an active part in the independence movement. However, he died in 1936 of tuberculosis. Internationalizing the independence struggle. Nehru was instrumental in internationalizing the Indian independence struggle. He sought foreign allies for India and established contacts with independence and democracy movements around the world. In 1927, his efforts paid off and the Congress was invited to attend the Congress of Oppressed Nations in Brussels, Belgium. The purpose of the meeting was to coordinate and plan the common struggle against imperialism. Nehru represented India and was elected to the Executive Council of the League Against Imperialism, which was born at that meeting. Under Gandhi's direction, Nehru led the Indian National Congress for the first time in 1929 at the Lahore session. Nehru drafted the policies of the Congress and a blueprint of a future Indian nation in 1929. He declared that the goal of the Congress was freedom of religion, the right to establish associations, freedom of speech, equality before the law, regardless of caste, skin color, belief, or religion, protects regional languages and cultures, protects the interest of farmers and workers, abolishes untouchables, introduce adult franchisee rights, implement bans, nationalize industries, socialism, and create a secular India. All these goals form the core of the Fundamental Rights and Economic Policy Resolution, which was drafted by Nehru from 1929 and were ratified in Karachi session, chaired by Vallabhbhai Patel in 1931. He again became the president of the Congress in 1936, 1937 and 1946. Nehru became the trusted lieutenant of Gandhi and believed in non-violent protest. He was sent to jail several times by the British government for his active role in the independence movement. He spent 9 years in jail. During his time in prison, Nehru wrote Glimpses of World History, his autobiography, and The Discovery of India. These works earned him distinction as a writer. Declaration of Independence. Nehru was one of the first leaders to ask the Congress Party to resolve to sever ties with the British Empire. The Madras Congress in 1927, despite Gandhi's criticism, approved his independence resolution. In 1929, British rejected the request for dominion status. Nehru took over as president of the Congress Party during Lahore session on December 29, 1929, and proposed a successful resolution calling for complete independence. Nehru drafted the Declaration of Independence of India at midnight on New Year's Eve in 1929. Nehru raised the tricolour flag of India on the river Ravi, Lahore. An independence pledge was read, which also included the willingness to withhold taxes. Serving as the Prime Minister of India 1947 to 1964. Nehru took over as the Prime Minister of independent India on 15th August 1947. On the eve of India's independence towards midnight on August 14, 1947, Nehru delivered his famous inaugural address titled A Tryst with Destiny. Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom. A moment comes which comes but rarely in history, when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends, and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance. It is fitting that at this solemn moment we take the pledge of dedication to the service India and her people and to the still larger cause of humanity. Following the partition of the country into India and Pakistan, communal violence broke out. Deeply affected by the violence that swept across the country, Nehru worked with Maulana Azad and other Muslim leaders in an effort to safeguard Muslims in India and bring about Hindu-Muslim unity. Under his leadership, the Congress won a majority in the elections of 1952. Nehru led the Congress to victory again in the 1957 and 1962 elections. The Congress faction led by Nehru promoted Hindi as the lingua franca of the Indian nation. After detailed and divided debates with non-Hindi speakers, Hindi was adopted as the official language of India in 1950. As India's first Prime Minister and External Affairs Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru strived towards shaping modern India's economic, social, and foreign policies. Nehru created the Planning Commission and drew up the first 5-year plan in 1951. He envisaged a mixed economy in which both the public and private sectors played important roles. Nehru's government gave impetus to agriculture and industries. Several programs were launched to build irrigation canals and dams, which Nehru called the New Temple of India. He encouraged the generation of hydroelectricity and also launched India's program to harness nuclear energy. He undertook community development programs for rural India. The Industrial Policy Resolution of 1956 was passed under his leadership. He is praised for creating a system providing universal primary education. His sound education policy provided for the development of world-class educational institutions such as the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Indian Institute of Technology, and the Indian Institute of Management. He encouraged women and adults. He worked towards empowering women and reforming laws. Nehru was a champion of pacifism and a strong supporter of the United Nations. He pioneered non-aligned movement professing neutrality between the rival blocs of nations led by the US and the USSR, which were engaged in a Cold War. He promoted denuclearization, fearing that a nuclear arms race would lead to over-militarization. Guided by Nehru's vision, India signed Panchsheel with China in 1954. The agreement involving 5 principles of peaceful coexistence. However, in the early 1960s, border disputes with China over Tibet turned into open conflict. Dedicated to the ideals of brotherhood and solidarity among nations, Nehru struggled to prevent a war between the two countries. However, despite this, China invaded India. Nehru was compelled to seek US military aid. Nehru perceived China's invasion as a betrayal of trust. Nehru served as Prime Minister for 18 years. During his tenure, many ministers in his cabinet were heavyweights, which included B.R. Ambedkar, Vallabhbhai Patel, Morarji Desai, Krishna Menon, etc. Assassination attempts on Nehru. There were 4 assassination attempts on Nehru. The first attempt was during the partition in 1947, when he was visiting the northwest frontier province by car. The second time was carried out by a knife-bearing rickshaw driver near Nagpur in 1955. The third attempt was in Mumbai in 1956, and the fourth was an attempted bomb attack on the railway tracks of Maharashtra in 1961. Despite the threat to his life, Nehru still despised the surrounding safety and did not like his actions disrupting traffic. Death. Nehru's health started deteriorating. He suffered a heart attack and died on May 27, 1964. Nehru was cremated at the Shanti Wan on the banks of the Yamuna River. Vision and legacy. His birthday, November 14, is celebrated in India as Children's Day in recognition of his lifelong passion and work for the welfare of children. Children across India fondly remember him as Chacha Nehru. In 1955, Churchill called Nehru the light of Asia and a greater light than the Buddha. Under Nehru's leadership, the Indian Parliament passed many Hindu law amendments to criminalize caste discrimination and strengthen women's legal rights and social freedoms. As India's first Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jawaharlal Nehru played a key role in shaping the government and political culture of modern India, as well as a solid foreign policy. Jawaharlal Nehru enjoyed an iconic status in India during his lifetime and was admired by the world for his idealism and governance strategy. Many public institutions and memorials across India are dedicated to Nehru's memory. The Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi is among the most prestigious universities in India. In 1955, Nehru was awarded the Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian honor. Conclusion: the great Indian nationalist leader who became the first Prime Minister of independent India and still continues to be the longest serving Prime Minister of the country. Jawaharlal Nehru was a true patriot who served our nation selflessly, a leader with a great vision, setting our country in the path of success and modernization. His unwavering commitment and dedication were extraordinary. This made him an outstanding figure in India's struggle for independence and modern India. The challenging times did not discourage him, but forced him to move forward. In fact, he was the one who carved out modern India. He has left an indelible mark in the history of our country and will be remembered by citizens of our country and the whole world.